Hello and welcome to another episode here on the War of the Rebellion Explorers. I'm your host, Niels Eichhorn, and today I want to continue the Pompeii series on sort of preservation, conservation, and potential issues that we see in Pompeii. And for this one, I should give you a brief backstory to why I very much, in the moment I saw this situation in Pompeii, decided to make this video. So after I got my PhD, I went back eventually to college and got a degree in heritage preservation and public history, just a graduate certificate, really. And in one of the first classes I took, we worked on an interpretive plan for a railroad depot near where the school was located. And one of the things that the owner of this depot really wanted to showcase was on the walls of the warehouse part of the depot were um, quote unquote graffiti of these different companies in town who always put their stuff in that spot. And it was beautiful. And the guy wanted to preserve that aspect, but he also was thinking in terms of like how, as he repurposed the building, he would do that. And one of the things he thought about was to put plexiglass in front of those sections to make it visible, but at the same time also not have people touch it. Problem that he immediately rejected that was that if you put plexiglass in front of it, he really kind of nicely told everyone it gets dirt behind it, it has condensation behind it, it will change in color over time, and it really will become much more of a damaging thing than actually preservation thing. So that always was in my mind, and whenever I see places that like put a piece of plexiglass, even if it's away a little bit in front of a historic drawing or a graffiti on the wall, I'm taken back to that moment because it so reminds me of like the more damage you actually are doing to it. So as I'm walking through Pompeii during my visit, what do I see? Pompeii actually put plexiglass in front of some of their exposed graffiti and drawings on walls. So I want to take you to that and kind of showcase to you a little bit of what we can see with the issues that that causes, unfortunately. So let's look at two videos that I've picked from the stuff that I um, recorded there that kind of illustrates that. Okay, so here is the first one that I want to show you. And in this case, what we have is right off the forum, the house that is described as the house of the slave owner. This is the entry portal into that building, and you can see on each side of this building, or on each side of this entryway, you have this beautiful rock carving. And if you look closely, you can also see some of that protective plexiglass. Now, I'm the first person to tell you, I get it. I get it. I get why they did this here. There's thousands of people coming through this, and we all know even if 10% of those, 100 people every day touch this, all of this is going to be gone within a week or two, right? I get it. You have to protect it because people are really bad at keeping their hands to themselves in these historic locations. But I also see the other part that this can be even damaging to what's on the inside. So let's look at this video real quick of what I kind of recorded. So here, so here's the first thing I want to showcase. As we look up on this, right? You see there's two pieces of plexiglass they used. The top one is a lot more weathered. Like as I look up, here, I'm standing maybe 2 meters, 3 meters away from this column, this entrance portal. I look up with the camera, and you can see these vertical streaks there. The plexiglass has weathered, the plexiglass has cracked a little bit, stresses that are acting upon it, whatever the reason is, you can hardly see what's up there. Right? So as a tourist, that can be just kind of something you find negative, right? You're coming here to see this, but then you can't see everything. But it also showcases that if you put something in a case, that case will have its own problems with it. And as we zoom more closely into all of this, you're going to really see that. So I'm not going to walk a little closer to this. And one of the first things here that I again want to highlight is this, right? You're seeing this tiny little space. Yes, I could stick my hand in it, but this plexiglass comes out far enough that I wouldn't reach the column. That's for air circulation. If we put the plexiglass smack on the wall, encasing it totally, there would still be moisture coming into it. There would be what they call a microclimate, and we'll explore that a little more in the next video, appearing inside of this enclosure. And that would be even more damaging. But even this is damaging because through this little thing, there's still dust coming in. There's still wind coming in. So there's still a little bit of wash that will occur as a result of wind and sand acting on each other. There's still going to be some moisture that gets into it. And yes, it's not totally trapped, but it is on some level trapped if it gets in there. So there, again, it is protected. It is, there's thought behind this protection, but there's also some problems with it. And as we zoom a little bit closer to the edges here, there you can start seeing it. Starting to see me here too on both sides, right? This is bent plexiglass. You know how plastic works when it bends. Stress factor sets in. The stresses on the edges, you get this sort of, in this case, horizontal breakage. In colored plastics, it's usually a white kind of indicator of the stresses. But again, it doesn't look that great. And you can see how dirty it is, right? That little bit of dirt has an impact. It's in there. It's impacting what you have behind it as well. So yes, it's protected. It's definitely protecting this beautiful engraving from hundreds, thousands of people's touching, but it is also damaging what's inside. So this is one. Let's go to the other one that I have for you as well. So this is on the market street, and they had a lot of these where they excavated these storefronts, and it's just this room with a podium, sales desk, really. And in some cases, these desks had really beautiful artwork on them, and here's one of those instances. And what they decided to do was to, again, plexiglass enclose it. So here we don't have necessarily the stress factors, but here we have the glue points, right? You can sort of nicely see that here, how we have these points where the plexiglass is glued together. And of course, that will cause, like, it just looks ugly on some level. Again, I get why you have to do it and it's the limits you have, but it's still ugly. You do note there's sort of that little curvature cut. There's a small section there in the back that is exposed, that is not covered, which is crucial. If you enclose this whole thing, there's a microclimate incoming. There's always going to be moisture from the ground coming in. There's always a little piece of crack that moisture will get into. So there is going to be some form of moisture that will be damaging. It's almost impossible. Even in with this piece left open, there's going to be something. Yes, again, it protects from touching hands, but it is this that's this a really terrible balancing act, right? The idea here was let's expose it all so that it is preserved from the soil destroying it. But by exposing it and quote unquote preserving it from soil destruction, we're now exposing it to an environment. It requires so much more work to maintain, to preserve, to lots of different techniques. And even if we come up with a technique that says, oh, maybe this will work, we're experimenting, and in 5 years we'll realize, oh, that doesn't work. So that's why archaeology these days oftentimes says, let's just leave it in the ground, expose it briefly, look at it, record it, put it back underground because it's just much better protected in that way than um, out in the elements. So I hope I gave you a little bit of an insight into how what we're seeing in Pompeii can be good and bad. Again, I totally get why they're doing it. I totally also see the problems with it. But if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in a future episode.